Early evening, any day. The warm black body lies on the cold black street. The cold black street fills with warm black bodies. An open-mouthed collective. Eyes eclipse dark. Raised voices flay the ear. Arms extend. Fingers point. Retail workers in booky red t-shirts, shapeless Primark trousers. Beer-bellied men wear tracing paper hats. The faint smell of fried chicken. There are hoods, peaked caps, muscular puffed jackets. There are slim black coats, scarred and pointed shoes, red ties, midnight blazers. A few in the crowd live children, 5 or 6 years old at best, held close, faces shielded, tiny heads pushed deep into adult necks. New arrivals dart like raindrops, join the mass. Staccato blue lights, the hum of chatter. They pool, overflow, surge forwards, almost filling the circular stage in which the body rests. Leaking. A blue bottle swarm of police officers keep the circle intact, trying to resist the flood. Visor-clad officers orbit the body, gripped by dull gravity. Others without headgear stand shoulder to shoulder facing the crowd, seeing no one. Blue and white tape, the repeated order not to cross. Half-raised semi-automatic held by the blank policeman who stands beside a Honda Civic. Doors open. Engines running. His colleague speaks into his ear. He's nodding, not listening. He looks into the crowd, nodding, not hearing. Blue lights align with the mechanical stutter of the helicopter, fretting like a mosquito. Its engine surges and recedes like the crowd. The blood beneath the body slows to a trickle and stops. It makes a slow return inwards. There's an infinitesimal shift of air pressure, causing fibers on the fallen baseball cap to sway like seaweed. No one sees this motion. There's a hush in the air. Sound evaporates. The body begins to stir. One by one, the people leave. They do not hurry. They simply step into the dusk from which they came. The eyes of adults widen, jaws drop, mouths gape and snap closed. Children's faces rise from shoulders. Hands are removed from their eyes, and they see it all. They crane their necks. Tiny hands splayed star-like on adult shoulders. The crowd steps back. The uncertain suits, the puzzled office workers, the angry retail assistants, chicken shop stewards, the cabbie, Bluetooth blinking in his ear. They step back until there is no one left but a trio of young men, polo emblems on their chest, hands aloft, calling in the direction of the police. The police shimmer and stir, lift and separate. Arms and legs piston hard, 5 officers backstepping faster than the crowd. They speed away from the body until they enter a parked ARV, 3 in the back, 2 in front. The vehicle gains life and roars into the distance. One of the remaining officers, a tall, gaunt woman, reels in blue and white tape, eyeing the young man with a glare veiled by an invisible sheen. When the tape is a tight blue and white snail in her hand, she also retreats, climbs inside a car with her partner, starts the engine, and they roll away backwards. The visored officer joins his visored colleagues, where they gather, like a bunched fist, semi-automatics raised and pointing. The body lifts, impossibly. 10 degrees, 20 degrees, 90. The fallen baseball cap flips from the ground, joins the head, and the man is half crouched, as though he might run. He holds his left arm up, fingers reaching for sky, one bright palm facing the officers while his right hand clutches his heart. Drops of sweat fly towards his temples as his head turns left, right. Thicker beads of red burrow into 3 puckered holes in his Nike wind cheater, exposed beneath his fingers. He blinks one eye, as though he's winking. He is not. Tiny black dots leap from his chest like fleas. 3 plumes of fire are sucked into the rifle barrel. He stands and raises his right hand to his blinking eye, almost wipes, and then both palms are raised. He is shaking his head. His mouth is moving fast. His eyes are shifting quickly. Street lights turn from orange to grey. The young man is stepping into the Civic. The police officers are stepping across the street. The polo youths on the opposite side of the road turn their heads, beginning to brag that Roadman's time has come, and seconds after, of Wiley's tweets about Kanye. They're laughing. They have no idea. On the street, the young man drops his palms and crouches inside the Civic. He sits, puts his hands on the steering wheel and waits. The police officers stop shouting. They back further away. Beside the empty ARV, they lower their semi-automatics until the weapons are pointing at the dark street. 3 get into the shadowed rear seat. 2 climb in front. They roll backwards, away. The polo youths reach the nearest corner. A flash of illumination from cost-cutter lights, and they are gone. The young man reaches down, starting the Civic. He puts the car in gear and its tires turn anti-clockwise. Following the ARV, he could almost be in pursuit. He's not. He's looking into the rear view, chewing on his inner cheek, a habit he has learned from his mother. He's trying not to look at his blue-faced Scargan. A prickling disquiet, palms sparkling like moist earth. His hand lifts from the wheel and he marvels at this. He remembers he must watch the road. He wants to text his girl, but he's afraid to pull over. He wants his right foot to fall, but he knows where it will lead. Yards roll beneath him, and he stops paying attention, ignores his rearview mirror. There's a song he doesn't recognize on the radio. He taps the steering wheel in time. His palms are dry. He might even be singing. It's impossible to tell. There are blue lights in every mirror. He hasn't noticed. Noisy blue dims into black silence, but he doesn't see this either. Few pedestrians notice the ARV rolling backwards or the baritone engine. Baseball-capped youths follow its passage, only tearing their eyes away as it leaves. Broad slabs of men duck towards the blank wall of shops, hide their faces, relax shoulders, and return to upright positions. An elderly woman tries to loosen her spine, swivels too late and frowns, sensing a presence she can't quite see, pulling her trolley towards her stomach. Schoolgirls in askew blazers and stunted ties, pink Nikes and petaled socks lift their gaze from the pavement and become grim portraiture before they retreat into a dusty corner store. The warped door shutters closed. The young man palms the steering wheel anti-clockwise, turns left, the sad-eyed windows of unkempt houses within an inch of dilapidation, the regressive spray of thick green hoses inside a car wash, a dormant hearse and driver, mustard brick new builds and the glow of a metro supermarket. Tired women stood on corners the closer he gets to home. They try not to stare in. He tries not to stare out. He does not see the garden. He does not see the green Volkswagen van creep behind him for another half mile. He palms the wheel left again, backs into a dead-end street. The green Volkswagen slots onto the corner of his block. He passes by its idling rumble, eases into a residence bay, and shuts off his engine. Pats his pockets ritually to make sure everything is there. He gets out and stretches, bent backwards, reaching towards sky. The sun on his cheeks, the occasional chilled breeze, patchwork blue and grey above. The tinny chatter of a house radio, shouts of neighbors' kids playing football. His wind cheater flutters like a flag. There is tingling warmth inside him, its bath water soft, soothing, and for one moment he smiles. He waves at the kids who leap to their feet, yell his name. Ray! He is. He doesn't see the man on a street corner talking into his lapel. He misses urgent eyes that scan the road and fingers pressed against one ear. The lonely intent. He enters the house, back and further back, immersed in turmeric walls, imitation pirate's maps of back home, studio photos of himself, his mother and troublesome sister. He slows in the narrow passage, smiles wider. His phone is pressed to his left ear. He's grinning. It makes him look younger. The phone drops into his jeans pocket. He enters the kitchen. His mother holds him close like a promise, one hand grasping the back of his head. Her eyes are shut. She rocks him in silence as though he were still a boy. She knows and does not know. He's muttering about being late, but she refuses to listen. On the dining table, a plate is dotted with rice shards and pink slivers of curried mutton, dull cutlery laid prone, fork cradling knife, a smudged glass century beside them. He wrestles from his wind cheater and throws it onto the back of a chair. He sits.